everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Esquire's Man at His Best podcast. This is our weekly look at some of the biggest things that have happened this week in the world of men's lifestyle, including updates from our very own website and magazine. Now, my name is Tom, and I'm the digital director of Esquire Middle East, and as per usual, I'm joined by a very special guest. Abducted at a very young age by a group of pixies, he was stolen away to a magical kingdom. Having managed to escape years later, he went back home to Kensington Gardens in London to find that his parents had another child. Feeling rejected and forgotten, he chose to return to the magical kingdom, never to return to the real world. There he thrived, fighting groups of pirates along with a small band of children and a fairy, all the while never aging a day. But after a chance meeting with a small child named Wendy, my guest decided to leave the magical land he called home to move back to the real world. However, now back in the real world, he soon realized that it was nowhere near as good as the magical Neverland he once called home. Now banned from re-entry by the fairies, he looked to move to the next best thing. He packed his bags and moved from London to Dubai, eventually becoming the editor-in-chief of Esquire Middle East. How are you doing, Matthew?
Yeah, good. For the record, I'm still looking for my marbles. If you'll get that. And hate crocodiles. Crocodiles.
No one likes crocodiles.
Yeah. Crocodiles with clocks inside them. But we'll get back to that as a neat segue going on to later news. But it's a pleasure to be here. I've been away on holiday.
Yeah, you have.
And I'm back.
That's why you're looking more tanned.
I know. Tanned, refreshed, got all the chat back. Jokes, Tom. Get ready for some 24-karat bronze comedy.
And of course, now we send this out via the magic, the wonders of the internet to not just Facebook Live, but YouTube Live and Periscope.
And we on IG Stories?
No, well...
Soon to be on IG Stories.
Soon to be there, but not there yet.
Cool. Yeah. Hi to all our live watchers.
Hello.
Hello. Leave comments. And hi to producer Charlie, who waved at us just then. You can't see that, but he's there. And leave comments as you kind of listen and follow us along on this magical journey into the next Esquire Man at His Best podcast.
And I've got some watch news.
Watch news.
Roll the sting. So kind of some big news, which we mentioned before. There were some rumors after the last Baselworld, which is kind of the world's biggest watch and jewelry fair.
Yes.
Where kind of all the new Rolexes come out and Tag Heuers and generally kind of an awful lot of watches are announced.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be like 350 watch brands involved or 400 watch brands involved.
Yeah, there's still a good number. And we kind of discussed this before, and there was rumors that Baselworld was kind of on the way out. And this came from a website called Hodinkee, where they overheard a taxi driver talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I remember we covered that on the podcast where we were reacting to this news story from Hodinkee. It's interesting, actually. A year ago, I was at Baselworld, and I spent the time interviewing various CEOs and heads of watch brands, global watch brands, and it was something that I was pressing them a lot on. You know, what's the future of these big kind of global trade fairs? And some of them were saying, yes, it has a future. Some of them were saying, no, it's not worth the financial outlay. I took the opinion that it was going to close. Not close, but I took the opinion that it was probably going to downsize and there would be a shift away from it, which I wrote about a year ago in Esquire. I hate to say I told you so. But it seems like things are on that way. Am I right, Tom?
Well, it seems that kind of the first nail has been dispatched to the coffin that could become Baselworld. Swatch Group, which is the largest watch company in the entire world, has just announced that it is pulling out.
Right, so for people that don't know about Swatch, what brands does Swatch Group look after?
Swatch is Omega, not Zenith. Your Omega, your Hamilton, your Rado.
Your Khalif Boucherer. What's the other one that begins with a B? Breguet.
That's right, Breguet. Lots and lots and lots. I mean, obviously the obvious one, Swatch.
Swatch. I have a Swatch. I have many Swatches.
Swatch obviously stands for second watch.
Yeah, funny known fact, eh? Everyone always thinks that's Swiss watch. Actually
nope.
Stands for second watch.
Second watch.
Anyway, tell me more about the story.
So essentially, the Swatch Group CEO, a man called Nick Hayek, he kind of dropped this bombshell a couple days ago on a live interview. That's not really the way you want to know you're getting broken up with, right? By watching a live television interview with your best client.
Yeah.
Anyway, kind of he seemed to suggest that he wanted to make it work, that he had meetings with the Baselworld board of directors and the executive board, and he invited them to change. I guess he kind of said the old model isn't working. And apparently they went ahead and released a full kind of 2019 schedule that didn't really ignore every single thing that he asked for. And so he announced he's pulling out. And not only has he kind of pulled out, but I think they've made it quite clear that there's no way that they will ever go back in. At least not this year. 2019 will be a
swatch-free Baselworld. It's an interesting thing. A lot of the to go back to the article and the interviews that I was doing last year was a lot of the main things was saying there's the people who run these big kind of conference centers, specifically this one in Basel, for this case, is they're talking of rising costs, the forcing exhibitors to use certain providers, and therefore there's fixed costs. It's a big outlay, and with the world kind of going so digital, Skype meetings, and the travel that gets involved in the watch industry, is there really a need for everyone to meet up in one place all the time of year, or can people do it remotely?
Well, I know that one brand which is not a Swatch brand, but I'm not gonna name them, but they've kind of been turning their back on the global expos and instead doing kind of world tours. So essentially bringing their watch collection to different cities around the world. They said that this is a lot more cost effective. It takes more time, but ultimately you get to see kind of journalists and collectors and would-be buyers on a one-on-one sort of basis, which ultimately is something that I guess is more personable.
Yeah, sure. Why won't you name the brand? Why don't you just name the brand?
Well, it's IWC.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you know, and now we know. I mean, that's our job, isn't it?
Yeah.
To tell them what we know, so they know.
Well, they know they know.
Isn't that a casual? That's the catchiest catchphrase you'll get.
Do you mean them?
Them, you out there. Not IWC. They know it already.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, fair.
Anyway, so we don't actually know.
So where do you stand on this idea of kind of big expos, or specifically in the watch industry? We go to a lot of them. There's another one in SIHH, which is in Geneva in January, where the Baselworld is in Basel in Switzerland in normally around March, April time.
I think we're kind of we were almost a good example this year of why some of these fairs don't work as well as they should, because obviously last year I was in Baselworld, you were in Baselworld, we had other members of our team in Baselworld, and we were producing daily videos from the show floor.
Which you can watch on our YouTube channel,
which are still there. Again, all of our audience and people kind of who also work as part of Esquire at Esquire headquarters, they all got to tune in. So they all got to see all those watches. They didn't need to travel there.
Yep.
And I think that as more and more kind of media outlets embrace this and not even the way we did it, you could just take an Instagram, put it up. The brands have now embraced Instagram. You don't need to put everything in one place to have people see it.
Don't tell other people how to do our job better than us.
No one can do it better than us.
Okay, fair enough.
I just don't think. I think those days, there's not that you don't need expos anymore. I just imagine this was a case of, well, if you're going to charge me X amount, I kind of want to see more investment in things like, daily videos produced by the actual expo itself.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, the expos that happen here, JITEX being a really good one of them in Dubai.
JITEX being the technology, consumer technology.
Is fantastic, which consumer and B2B technology is fantastic. Like the World Trade Center has its own news crew. Actually, our parent company, ITP, manages the daily newsletters, and kind of they are breaking news on websites as it comes out of the show.
Sure.
Now that means it makes it easier for everyone around the world to then pick up news.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Look. News is instant. Why would everyone need to travel to one specific location to get the news that all breaks on the first day generally, and run it for 5 days? It's an interesting concept. The underlining. There was one CEO of a watch company that told me. He said, as long as Swatch, Rolex, Patek Philippe, and Tag Heuer were around at Baselworld, then it would go on. So. This is quite a seismic shift here, and we'll see how that affects the watch industry going forward.
And that's all what everyone says. But let me let you into a secret. I actually know why Swatch have pulled out. I know the real reason.
What? Why? Do you want to call some random newspaper and tell them as we're going?
Baselworld boasts an awful lot of watches, but it also boasts the world's most expensive sausages.
Yeah, totally.
If you need to get some food at Baselworld, you can only really buy sausages with a baguette.
Yeah.
And those sausages cost something like €9 for a single. You get, not even a baguette, sorry, that would be too much. You get a slice of bread and you get one. I mean, it's a fairly large sausage, but that's €9. That's too much.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. That and that ramen shop in the corner of the convention center.
Always busy, but so expensive.
It's like 23 euros for a bowl of ramen. See? Producer Charlie raised his eyebrow in disgust. You can't see it, but it's happening. Because we're live, people.
So kind of now this is both sides of the story. You know kind of the corporate spin as well as the truth.
Yeah, and you know what? Top line, headline on this. Expensive sausages close Baselworld. You heard it here first, people. Yeah. That's the mic there. I don't know why I dropped
Don't
nothing.
drop it, otherwise producer Charlie will tell us off.
Get very angry.
Right, that's the end of Watch News. Sting.
Cool. Well, I have some news for you, Tom, and it is about. It's a bit of a personal one, but it's news that's just been announced by CNN, who have announced that there will be a final 7-episode season of Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown TV show. Now, the late Anthony Bourdain sadly passed away or took his own life earlier this year, a couple of months ago, and while he was filming for CNN. But they've just announced that yes, there'll be a 7-episode season which will air in in the autumn. And they've announced the locations, and they've announced how they're going to deal with the holes.
So how are they going to do it? Because obviously it was kind of halfway through the filming of the series.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit more halfway through, but yeah, I mean, predominantly it wasn't done at the time.
No.
But basically, the CNN's executive vice president of talent and content released a statement saying that there are 4 episodes which will include him visiting New York City's Lower East Side, the Big Bend in Texas, Spain, and Indonesia. They will be done using Bourdain's audio that he'd already recorded during the filming, and if there are any kind of gaps in the dialogue or gaps in the audio, they'll be done with interviews with collaborators that he worked with. It's I'm glad to see his work, the work that he was working on towards the end will be seen. I imagine the viewers, around the world will be happy with it, and it'll be a great tribute to him. It was a big kind of shock, and really kind of hit home for the impact that Tony Bourdain had on the journalist industry and TV as well.
I wonder if the whole mood will change. I guess it has to. The whole tone and kind of mood. I'd be interested to see what this kind of turns out to be like. Because again, if they're using interviews to fill the gap, they're interviewing people who will have known him, will have known the place, and will be kind of very up to date with kind of what has happened. So one can imagine, I don't know, maybe not a more not necessarily a darker tone, but I guess more of a
there'll be an element of celebration in there. There'll be an element of that, but also there's an element of sadness. It's going to be an interesting way to see how the production team deal with that, and they've obviously had many meetings about the way they handle it, and it's a very sensitive subject. But I'm excited to see how it goes. Big fan of the show. Also, coincidentally, for the current issue of Esquire Middle East, which is on shelves at the moment, this is the thing for everyone watching live.
We've also got a cool little thing that appears.
Cool. Yeah, fair enough. Here. I like that. I was going to do that again. Yeah, there you go. We have an article called Bourdain in Beirut, where one of our writers, Ramsey Short, he had a decade-long friendship with Anthony Bourdain. And every time he came to Beirut, they would go out and he would show him the sights, and they made a couple of TV shows about it, including the time when Bourdain was in Beirut when the airport was bombed. Anyway, it's a very personal tribute to the man and the time they spent together. And obviously, I would implore you to read that. It's a very good read, and you can pick it up in Esquire Middle East July-August issue, out on shelves now.
Yeah.
That's that news done.
What news was that?
Bourdain news.
We won't do a sting for that.
No, fine. Okay.
But we will do a sting for my next bit of news. Because the sting involves a little dancing robot. So let's see how he gets on.
I'm with you.
Right, good. So this
Dancing
bit of
robot.
news, I've actually got this bit of news is it's not so much sponsored, but I'd like to say this bit of news is brought to you by Jason Mamoa.
The man of the samosa fame.
The man of samosa fame, and we talked a lot about him last show.
We talked a lot about him.
But it is his birthday today.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday, Jason Mamoa.
Yeah.
I hope you had some mimosas to begin the day, followed by a nice samosa snack, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
And maybe a get well, a happy birthday card from Bon Jovi guitarist Ricky Sambrosa.
Did we think this is a real person, or is you just?
I checked. I got his name wrong. It's Ricky Sambora, but it doesn't. The joke works, you know.
Does it? Anyway, so this being tech news, news is that Tim Cook kind of was on an earnings call yesterday. This is what happened when you're a large company, you have lots of investors. Every now and again, you have to call them and be like, "This is how we're spending money."
Fine.
Shareholders and that. So Tim Cook being the CEO of Apple.
I've heard of him.
He has said that he's more or less heavily hinted that Apple is currently producing a competitor that will bring the fight to Netflix and Amazon.
Boom.
So that kind of they've dipped their toe into the kind of the content ring. They produce kind of original shows, or rather they've bought up shows like Carpool Karaoke with your friend James Corden.
Yep.
They also did something called Planet of the Apps.
With your friend Gary Vaynerchuk.
With my actual friend Gary Vaynerchuk. It was just a really bad pun on a
Planet of the Apps.
Planet of the Apps. It was a funny pun like 7 years ago when apps first came out, but now it's a bit long in the tooth. But anyway, so Apple they want a bigger part of this. So pretty soon, this is how maybe in 3 years, you're going to have to choose between paying $10 a month for Netflix, paying $10 a month for Amazon Prime TV, paying $10 a month for Disney, which is now starting its own Netflix competitor, so it will pull all of the Marvel and Disney stuff off any other competitor, and then you're going to have Apple too.
Yeah, it kind of the Disney thing kind of screws me here because I have a young daughter. I watch a lot of Disney on the Netflix.
Yep.
Now I'm going to have to be buying a lot of different streaming channels.
I kind of see we're going full circle here, because the beauty of when Netflix came out was that a lot of people were tied into kind of network and cable television kind of contracts, and obviously you pay quite a bit of money with that. So Netflix was kind of this really good viable competitor, because all of a sudden you wouldn't need that. You could just go to Netflix and watch all of these different shows.
Yeah.
What's happening now with everyone setting up their own stores is instead of paying for just one, you kind of have to pay for them all.
Correct.
So you'd be paying, instead of $10 a month, like $50, $60 a month.
Yeah, but I remember when Netflix first launched. Now this is dating me, but it was just stand-up comedy and B movies.
Yeah, and lots of scrolling.
Lots of scrolling. Mind you, I still do. The way my Apple TV works to watch the Netflix is very poor.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for, algorithms are great, but I think Netflix should.
Who doesn't love an algorithm?
Netflix should, and if they do this, I want some money, guys, because, and this kind of this.
Mind you, I think last podcast we just pitched heavily for Netflix. So
this is
so now you want more money from them. They've already commissioned 3 of those shows we pitched last week. By the way, I am rolling in it right now.
So kind of one of the things is there's a whole kind of thing. It's a psychological thing, and it's essentially kind of the barrier of choice. If you're presented with too many kind of options, you'll end up going with the one that you know, because you're just kind of a bit confused. I think Netflix and a lot of these streaming programs, they do that. You have so much choice, you're just like, I'll rewatch Fast and the Furious. And then you're like, this is a terrible film, but I don't know why I chose it. What I think they should do, and this is a
terrible film or instant classic.
This is a crazy idea. But instead of Netflix showing me a lot of different stuff, why doesn't someone at Netflix choose and they could just play it on a running stream? And then I would click on it and then, get this, when one movie ended,
Yeah.
another one would just begin, but I don't know what that is. They would tell me what it is, but then it would just begin.
So
someone would decide for me.
So you basically have like takeovers. So Steven Spielberg could pick a playlist of films and TV shows that he really wants you to watch. So you could log into the Steven Spielberg playlist. This is good. This is good. This is good. Cut this. Just cut this whole section out, and we'll take it to market. Are we offline? All right, good. Yeah, that's a decent idea. Fair. What is Apple TV's service going to be called?
I'm Apple TV probably. I mean, why complicate stuff?
Because they love to complicate.
But see, now this is the thing. You might think that Apple, they're coming to the game late. You've already got Disney with all their content. You've got Netflix with all, they have the market share. You've got Amazon who, because they're led by a Bond supervillain, really, they can do absolutely anything. Amazon. Hey, whoa, what was that?
Woo! Man, I think,
What was that?
I don't know, I got a zap or something, did you?
Anyway, that was a bit weird. Anyway, let's just go straight in. So the B team, who have Apple got lined up in case you or I are busy or they're not going to pay us enough? Someone, you may have heard of her, Oprah Winfrey?
I think, is it pronounced opera?
I don't know. Apparently, this person signed up for a multi-year deal, and apparently she's very well known around the world. I don't know. Anyway, essentially, it's a multi-year deal with her, which, if she's as big as what this website is telling me...
What's that website?
That's Esquire, me.com.
Okay.
If it's as big as what this website is saying, that's not a bad A-lister to have fronting your...
I mean, she got some pull, I'll tell you that.
She got some pull.
So, I have a quick question, and this is mainly now because we're live streaming stuff.
If you me or them?
Them. Oh. You, people at home, and people listening without the video as well. If you had to pick between Apple TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime as a streaming site, and you could only buy one of them, what would you buy? And and Disney, what would be the main factor on it? Price, like options,
films
or TV shows. Leave your comments if you want down below. I think that would be very interesting to find out.
Yep. Cool. And that is...
Oprah Winfrey News.
Well, tech news. Dancing robot news.
All right, man. I have my final bit of news for you today, Tom. And you know what?
What?
When I was younger, I thought the Bermuda Triangle was going to play a much bigger part of my life than it ended up doing.
I mean, fair.
I mean, you're always told about beware of the big... It's one of those lessons that you probably get taught more than like how to change like a gas leak or whatever, how to change the gas on your barbecue. Is just beware of the Bermuda Triangle because it sinks ships. But
you shouldn't go to the Bermuda Triangle.
No more, Tom, because apparently the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle has been solved.
All right. Sure it has.
Yeah. Apparently a team of scientists and researchers from the University of Southampton have just discovered what makes the Bermuda Triangle so dangerous. Now, to quantify this, do you know where the Bermuda Triangle is?
It's off Bermuda.
It's basically a stretch of water between 3 points: Bermuda in the Caribbean, Miami or Miami, and Puerto Rico. See. So if you can picture that in your mind atlas, it's basically that. And basically what they've said, and they've declared that this is due to rogue waves.
Rogue waves.
That's a good name, isn't it?
Terrible Star Wars film.
Rogue Waves, the working title of Star Wars Episode 12, but they just can't. Didn't like Rogue Waves.
Rogue waves. What is a rogue wave? A wave that just it's just decided I'm not going to go with the rest of the waves. I'm not going to go to school. I'm going to skip school and just do what I want.
So what a rogue wave is that because of the location of these three, the points between these three places, is that it's actually at a meeting point of seas and currents.
Okay.
So if there are 3 storms going on, and there is storm season in the Caribbean and south of the US, as we know, if the perfect conditions happen where there's 3 storms sending waves into each other, currents into each other, it can create waves up to 100 feet high. Therefore, boats flying in there...
Boats flying!
Sorry.
Flying boats!
They probably fly up 100
That's
foot.
why.
I tell you that.
Yeah, a 100-foot wave hits you, I
So,
guess.
I mean... So the idea, in theory, that works, right? So basically what these scientists have done, what these scientists have done is they built a model version of this on the idea of the USS Cyclops, which was a boat that went missing in 1918, Tom. And they recreated this simulation indoors in these conditions where there would be 3 rogue waves. And they found that the boat sank. There you go, man. Big waves. And actually, due to the size of ships, the bigger the ship, the bigger the wave, the more likely it is to kind of break in half and sink.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, pretty much. They quoted saying, the larger the ship, the more likely it is to be destroyed due to it being more open to being snapped in half. See, you can't fault that science, can you?
Yeah, I can.
So there you go, man.
Because we all know this is, again, and again, I hate to be the guy who kind of says the truth.
You're a flat earther, aren't you?
On this show, but everyone knows. Okay, let me just build some facts. Bermuda, the Bermuda Triangle. What is the triangle another symbol of?
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati. Is this it's not a coincidence. Everyone knows the Illuminati has been secretly using this area to hijack and pick up people and materials for years and years and years.
You see, I have another theory on it, and I will say it in one word. Godzilla. Yeah? Tell me I'm wrong. Godzilla. Yeah? Meant to be in Japan, but if you bring him in through the 21st century, all disasters happen in US. We all know this. We've all been watching films.
Yeah. Yeah, usually there's at least they token Tokyo destruction, but then they move to the US.
Yeah, then they move to the US because, and then they always attack cities.
Yeah, New York.
Disasters always happen in cities. Cities are a very small part of the US. A lot of open space. Never get any asteroid falling from Earth and landing in open space. Always New York. Always Manhattan. Very small. Godzilla, very big.
This is true. I can't fault your logic in this.
So you disprove that, scientists.
From Southampton.
Yeah.
Still the Illuminati, though.
Yeah, fair. I mean, they're in. Apparently, true story, Godzilla has a tattoo of the Illuminati on his arm. That may or may not be true. Just saying. Well, that's all my news, Tom.
Maybe we were struck earlier by the Illuminati. That wave, that electronic thing.
Or option 3, Aquaman.
Well, see, it is rumored that the lost city of Atlantis was actually it sunk into the ground, and famously Atlantis was in an exact triangle. So maybe sunk and then became the Bermuda Triangle.
But then who lives in the lost city of Atlantis in modern day Marvel culture?
That would be DC.
Modern day DC culture.
I believe that would be Aquaman.
Right, and who plays Aquaman in current television series and film?
That would be Jason Mamoa.
And what day is it today?
That would be Jason Momoa's birthday.
Now, you join those 3 points up, and that is a triangle.
I think, yeah. I mean, we've just solved that.
Good day's work. Ugh. Good day's work, Tom.
Blame that thing, that force.
That was the worst handshake ever captured on television.
Yeah, I think on that terrible handshake / high five / high shake.
Yeah, but I feel like we've done enough work disproving the whole theory of the Bermuda Triangle and Atlantis while roping it into a lovely Jason Samosa.
And also reminding everyone that sausages. Oh, I think someone just had a thought.
And what shape is a samosa?
That's it now then. That is proven. That is
done. Thank you. Thank you, world.
I think we just end that now because that is too much.
Just cut the damn tape.
Right. We do hope you enjoyed the Esquire Man at His Best podcast. Remember, we have new episodes coming out weekly on Apple iTunes, SoundCloud, Pocket Casts, and more, as well as hosting each individual show on our website, esquireme.com, and bringing you the truth live.
The truth.
Please don't forget to check out our YouTube and social media accounts for more daily truth.
Cool. Yeah, it's been real. We've done some real work here today.
Next week, we'll go after the other things. Bigfoot.
Lay him out. Roswell. Bigfoot. That's all I can think of. We've done too much. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for leave your comments, hit subscribe, and we'll catch you soon.
Bye-bye.
Adios.